Go say hi to Sean.
Oh my goodness.
Hey brother, how's it going?
Who is here on behalf of, and I'll explain who you are, and then I'll call upon both the chief and the deputy to come up to receive their plaques. Now there's a photo op that goes with that, and then they're going to put the plaques back down. You'll resume your seat.
You? Good? How's retirement? Already, eh? That long? Wow. I feel like it. Yeah, well, I left the region, right? So I kind of lost touch there. I'll tell you, that is, that's probably the biggest adjustment for me. Being Tiger last year for so many years, and then all of a sudden just being without information. Yeah, that was troubling. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of cruisers go screaming. What's going on? Oh, I guess I'm not in that circle anymore. I'm not cool enough anymore. Yeah. There's a need to know list and I'm not on. Yeah. Sometimes that's not a bad thing. Well, Vince, sometimes it's not a bad thing when you don't need to know. Yeah. Well, one day my wife and I were outside for a run. Jeez! That's good. So anyway, next time I'm talking to somebody I know, I said, right up me for him in his yard. Like, he's not coming home when you're parking in the street. No. Park in my yard. Oh, yeah.
Program manager was in there now 3 months. So now 3 months ago, and I'll put it
Telling that story the other day when the sun down in Ottawa this weekend. Sending me pictures of the for the briefing and everything. It's something that out of Campagnon first. You're sleeping in the Chateau Morgan. Listen, deployments have changed, young man.
Yeah. Yeah, that was something last week. Organized all that.
Oh yeah. It was funny. My coach officer's son. My coach officer's son found my son. It's a picture of the two of them.
Oh really? Yeah.
I said, holy shit, 2 generations. Your dad and I together, now the 2 sons are. Take care of each other. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Happy birthday to you.
Program manager position anyhow.
So how are they looking at it? First coffee house.
You're just looking at me like, why the hell are you talking to me? What is those walk?
Cochrane Museum.
What's wrong with me? I'm like, no. Yeah, just like, oh, it's you. It is awkward. Do you want people
5 hours, 6 hours
like
apart. On both ends.
Or like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know you.
Right. Are you on the air? But that's the end.
I know people at LinkedIn, but I don't know if someone knows.
It was a look for me. I'm like, okay, I'll just walk away. I'm not getting the acknowledgement I thought I was going to. Good. It's a
Nice to put it in.
Yeah.
So it has a hard time doing it.
No,
This is what you want to do to not get reelected. Oh, the tips and drinks. And I was like,
I'm gonna need it in English.
what is happening? And then I was like, also had a nightmare about my speech. Like,
a lot of
yeah, so it feels nice. Lasers never happened. It's like, that's my fun fact for today. But the buttons don't.
know that. You. Ah.
Yeah.
This time it's well, the first time
On everything. All, like, or just.
I was here,
Yeah. Yeah. Literally spent 10 minutes like wondering why I couldn't.
You hadn't come, I didn't want to bill your credit card. Just take it out.
I know. I honestly thought about it like
It felt like a Seinfeld episode.
Like,
Oh, I know you didn't keep the reservation.
Like I went off on a tangent in my mind.
You didn't keep the reservation.
Yeah.
I got a meeting in 5 hours.
Afternoon, folks. Afternoon, folks. Is this thing on? Yeah, it's working. Okay, folks, if I could have you start to migrate to your seats. And dignitaries, if you could join me out in the hallway. Yep. Grab a seat. Okay, folks, we're creeping up on 1 o'clock. I'd like the dignitaries to form out front, and for the remainder of you to find seating.
Stand up in the back.
Okay, folks, it's about 2 after 1 o'clock. Could I have all persons who haven't found their seat just yet to do so, please? Please locate your seat. We'll begin fairly shortly.
Honor guard, fire defender, quick! Mark.
Good afternoon. Please be seated. I have a few things to go over, just housekeeping issues. I'm going to turn into a flight attendant for a brief period of time. Emergency exits are here, here, and here. In the event of a water landing, the bottom of your seat becomes a flotation device, so that's great news. You'll find I laugh at my own jokes. It saves time, and it avoids those awkward silences that I'm all too familiar with. So if you'll bear with me every now and again, the occasional dad joke can't help but take effect. This is a happy occasion. It's a historic occasion for the Timmins Police Service. It's a very happy occasion for the Foy family and the Gauthier family. So I'm very pleased to see all of you out here in such large numbers. Thank you very much. So I would like to first introduce the dignitaries moving from left to right. No need to stand. Mayor George Peary, Justice David Thomas, Timmins Police Board Chair Rob Knox, Timmins Police Board Member Councillor Kirsten Murray, Chief of Police John Gauthier, Chief Designate Daniel Foy, Deputy Chief Henry DaCosta, Chaplain David Smith, and the President of the Timmins Police Service Association, Constable Luke LaMarche. I would also like to, at this time, acknowledge the Timmins Police Service Board members who are present here today. Councillor Michelle Boileau, you can stand. Along with Jamie Clark, Dave Landers, the CAO for the City of Timmins, and Kramer Grinke. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of the history that is in this room. So I would like to now acknowledge former Chief Joe Harwood, who served as Chief of Police from 1993 to 1997. Good to see you out, Joe. I would also like to acknowledge former Chief of Police Denis Lavoie, who was Chief of Police for the Timmins Police since 1997 to 2004. Rosa let you out of the house, Dennis. That's good. I would also like to acknowledge former Chief of Police Richard Laperriere, who served as Chief of Police from 2004 to 2011. At this point, I would ask us all to rise for the singing of the national anthem. I'll call upon Constable Caroline Rouillard to sing our national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Well done, Constable. You did a better job than I would have, so that went without saying. I would also like to now acknowledge the law enforcement officials who braved the rigors of traveling throughout Northern Ontario in the wintertime for attending today's ceremony. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Audrey Penner from Northern College, Cindy Campbell and Jamie Roach from the Timmins the BIA, and Karen Bachman, the curator from the Timmins Museum.
I'd ask you now to be seated.
Honor guard, order, colors. Please, colors. Honor guard to the front, salute. Right, turn. Quick, mark.
You can define bravery any number of different ways, but any man willing to wear a kilt in Timmins in February, there's my new hero right there. No doubt about it. And he's wounded too. He's walking with a limp. So again, thank you all for coming. This is a happy occasion on behalf of both the Gauthier family, the Foy family, and of course, to a larger degree, the Timmins Police family. I bid you welcome on behalf of the Timmins Police Services Board as well. It's good to see everybody out here in such large numbers. These are challenging times, and it's good to see so many people able, once again, to congregate for such a worthy cause. I would now like to call upon Chaplain Smith to provide the blessing for the Timmins Police. I would like to now introduce David Smith. Dave was born and raised here in Timmins, and he literally married the girl next door. Why that's part of your bio is a bit of a mystery, but okay. They stayed married for 50 years. And he has two daughters. One is a civilian employee with the RCMP down in Ottawa. I bet you she's busy. And the other is a teacher here in Ontario. And teachers are always busy, so that works. Dave was briefly employed as a Timmins police constable from January 1973 to June 1974. Dave opted to pursue a different career path and left policing up until very recently, as he was selected as the new Timmins Police Chaplain. Dave was ordained as a permanent deacon in the Catholic Church in November of 2019, serving at St. Anthony's Cathedral Parish and serving as a member of the clergy to the sick at the Timmins and District Hospital. This is Dave's first official duty as chaplain. So no pressure, Dave. Ladies and gentlemen, Chaplain David Smith.
No pressure, he says. It's a privilege to do this today. Just going to read a prayer and a blessing that I prepared for this occasion. Almighty God, we pray this day for the men and women of the Timmins Police Service. Unite them as one in a spirit of service and camaraderie. Sustain them in their good work. Encourage them and grant them safety. Give them strength for their labors and wisdom equal to every task. As we pass the leadership of this police service in this ceremony, we especially lift up outgoing Chief John Gauthier and incoming Chief Daniel Foy. May your blessings be with Chief Gauthier as he retires. We thank him for his years of dedicated service to this community, for his leadership and enhancements of services during his tenure. May his retirement be blessed with health and relaxation, and may he enjoy his leisure time and be successful in any future endeavors. Be with our new chief, Daniel Foy, as he assumes his duties as the chief of the Timmins Police Service. Bless him with every grace of leadership that he will need. Watch over him and his loved ones through all the times of trial. Grant him and the men and women who work with him success in all their endeavors. May they carry out their duties in safety and integrity so that they might find satisfaction in the important work they are doing on behalf of their community and co-workers. I offer this prayer in the name of Jesus our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Deacon Smith. It is only fitting that we take a moment now to acknowledge the traditional Indigenous lands on which we stand. With that in mind, I would like to introduce Councillor Kristen Murray. By way of background, Kristen is an enthusiastic mom to 2 daughters. She is also an equity, diversity, and inclusion lead with the City of Timmins Councillor and serving on the Timmins Police Service Board. Kirsten is a proud member of the Chaplain Cree First Nation and is a descendant of a signatory to Treaty 9. She is of mixed race, a woman of Cree descendancy along with Jamaican ancestry, who has been a fierce advocate for Indigenous peoples in northeastern Ontario for the last 18 years, specializing in child welfare and Indigenous relations. While engaging in advocacy work, Kristen recognizes the interconnectedness of the land as it relates to health and success of Indigenous people and communities. As a result, her passions have become focused on developing strategic partnerships and influencing local policies to support and encourage the resurgence of Indigenous practices and teachings. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to call upon Councillor Kristen Murray to the podium.
Wache Miswe, Mikaso Esqueo, Nishnagasan, Musquadotum. Welcome, everyone. Today we begin our gathering with a statement for you to reflect on the unique connections and relationships that Indigenous people and their ancestors have had with this place we call home for thousands of years. This comes from the important understanding that we are all related and connected. As we engage with our work with community, we must commit to being conscious about the connections that exist around us. We must also commit to working with the public in a way that is rooted in strengthening our connection to understanding who they are and how to best serve them. Today, we honor the Indigenous community and the work they've done and continue doing in caring for the land. The land we're standing on today is the traditional territory of Matagami First Nation. I also acknowledge that Timmins is situated in Treaty 9, which is the James Berry Treaty. By honoring the land, we're acknowledging Indigenous people's relationship to the land. We're also acknowledging the broken treaty relationships and additional systems of power that have oppressed Indigenous people. In addition to recognizing and deeply appreciating the historic connection to the land, we must also honor the many contributions that Métis, Inuit, and First Nation people have made both in shaping and strengthening this community, our province, and the country as a whole. This recognition of the contributions and historic importance of Indigenous people is connected to our collective commitment to make the promise of truth and reconciliation real in our community.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. I would now call upon my colleagues with Near North Productions to make whatever techno magic has to happen. Including the declaration. For a pre-recorded message from Her Honor, Solicitor General Sylvia Jones.
Good afternoon, and hello to everyone gathered at the Timmins Public Library or watching online. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to extend a warm welcome and congratulations to Daniel Foy on his appointment as the new police chief for Timmins. I would also like to offer my sincere thanks to Chief John Gauthier for his service and dedication to Timmins over the past 11 years. Congratulations on your many accomplishments, and I wish you all the best in your retirement and future adventures. I also want to thank the members of the Timmins Police Services Board under the leadership of Chair Rob Knox. Hiring a chief of police is one of the most important tasks a police service board does, and I want to acknowledge your role in choosing Timmins' newest police leader. Leading a police service is no easy task. The challenges the world and Ontario has faced in recent years has created new demands and tested police services like never before. It requires police personnel to be adaptable, to innovate, and to collaborate through partnerships that help educate and inform, prevent crime, and protect the communities they serve. I trust that Chief Daniel Foy will achieve this, just as outgoing Chief John Gauthier has done. Chief Foy, I wish you all the best as you get settled into your new role. Your experience as a long-standing and accomplished police commander will serve you well as a leader in the Timmins community. I had the opportunity to speak briefly to Chief Foy last week, and I know that he is committed to the people of Timmins and certainly appreciates the value of partnerships with community agencies and organizations. Finally, on behalf of Premier Ford and the Ontario government, I want to extend my gratitude to all police personnel for your dedication, commitment, and service. Our communities are stronger and safer because you are there to protect them each and every day. Congratulations again, and enjoy the rest of today's ceremony.
That went well. We were a little worried about that part, so that's... It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce Mayor George Peary. George was born and raised in the Porcupine Gold Camp. He is married with 2 children and 3 grandchildren. The Peary family has been part of the fabric that makes up the Porcupine area for over 100 years. He holds an honors bachelor in commerce from Laurentian University. George Peary is a mining executive with over 35 years of experience in the industry, with over 17 years at the senior management level, both in executive and board capacities, with experience in international and domestic mining. He has held a number of senior positions with Placer Dome North America, Placer Dome Canada, where he served as president and CEO, as well as executive management positions with Breakwater Resources and Sand Gold Incorporated. He has also served with distinction on the Mining Association of Canada, the Ontario Mining Association, co-chairman of the Ontario Mineral Industry Cluster Initiative, sponsored by the Ministry of Northern Development and Mines. He also is a driving force behind Placer Dome Canada's sponsorship of the Aboriginal Achievement Awards, and also serves with the Porcupine Health Unit and formerly as chairman of the Timmins Police Services Board. While these accomplishments are certainly laudable, George Peary is a roll-up-your-sleeves northerner who genuinely enjoys the clean outdoor life that Timmins has to offer. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to call upon Mayor George Peary.
Well, thank you very much, Mark, for those kind words. And welcome, bienvenue, wache. Before I start with my formal remarks, I want to acknowledge the Gauthier family here today. I know it's been mentioned, but Chief Gauthier served over 30 years. There you are, with the mask on. I'm searching around to find you. 30 years. And you can imagine what it was like for his family. At a point, it's a job. But you have to realize the risks and stresses and angst that comes to the family that is a loved one for anybody that serves in law enforcement. So today, I want to acknowledge the Gauthier family. Chief Gauthier is retiring, and I presume you're all breathing a little sigh of relief. So congratulations. Congratulations to the Chief for that. I am proud and honored to speak this afternoon at this change of command ceremony. Obviously, it's a very important time in the city of Timmins. Chief Gauthier has been with the Timmins Police Service for over 30 years. His dedication to policing is truly remarkable. Chief Gauthier can take pride in knowing that he led our police operations through the most recent challenge of the pandemic, which posed a significant hurdle to effective policing. I also want to say, during this period of time, the Chief controlled the police services and the events throughout the pandemic with a great deal of wisdom. Because it takes a great deal of wisdom to handle situations and see them not escalate, but de-escalate. And Chief Gauthier, that was a particular skill that you have and had, and you exercised that responsibility with a great deal of skill. There was numerous occasions during the last 2 years where, in fact, the situation could have been escalated, and it wasn't. The Chief handed all of this, and the only word that I can think of is with a great deal of wisdom. And that takes a particular skill. So, Chief, thank you very much for that. He was also instrumental in working with the community partners to launch the Mobile Crisis Response Team. And now I want to talk a little bit about Chief Gauthier's style. He's very much an enlightened police officer. He very much responded to the changing times within the country, in the province, and within the city of Timmins. Again, a particular skill set that he exhibited remarkably well. Remarkably well. I was just in discussions with Dr. Bellamere, and it was in relation to the opiate crisis, and it was in relation to with the city in Saskatchewan. And they were asking us, how are we doing this within the city of Timmins? And she told a particular story, and she talked it from a personal reference here within the city of Timmins. And there's an individual, and I'll simply call him Joe. That's not his real name. And he showed up at the clinic and said, "Oh, you know, why are you here?" And surprised that he was there. And apparently he had not arrived perhaps at the methadone clinic in time. So he was in duress. And he said, "Well, doctor, there was two choices. I could walk down the street and I could rob the convenience store to get the money to buy the supply illegally, or I could go to your clinic. I could go to your clinic." Now, Chief Gauthier supported all of those initiatives. The crime is stopped. The world is a changing place beneath our feet, and the Chief responded to this exceptionally well. And in fact, he led that change, again, with his team of police officers throughout the city of Timmins. A remarkable job. It's a difficult job. It's a terribly difficult job, especially with what we're doing, with what we're dealing with in the city of Timmins. 90%, and this is not a quote that you can, or a figure that you can quote, but a large number of the issues that we're facing in the city of Timmins from a crime point of view are related to the fact that they're associated with the opioid crisis. And this, as we know now, is a mental health issue that the police are, in fact, a huge part of with their response. The Chief recognized that. We had special units set up to handle that. His dialogue with the downtown BAA group couldn't be stronger. It was continuous. It's a very, very difficult job in challenging times, and it's not going to get any easier. Chief Foy. There you are. The masks. I can't tell you how much I admire Chief Gauthier. You could see he was different than most. And the strongest word that I can think of is admiration. Not only for the years of service, but his style and how he led his troops, his police officers. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Chief Gauthier has showed steadfast concern for his officers as well as the residents of the City of Timmins by addressing all manner of risks in a proactive and progressive way. It has truly been a pleasure to work alongside you for the past 3 years as the Mayor of the City of Timmins. I hope that you enjoy your retirement with your lovely wife and family, knowing that you served your community for so many years safely and well. Job well done. Job well done. As we look towards the future, we are fortunate to be welcoming Chief Foy as leader of the Timmins Police Service. He comes to us with over 27 years of experience with the OPP. And Chief, I've never worked with you, but by reputation, you are a stellar example of what the Chief of Police will be. I look forward with great anticipation working with you. I know you've got an excellent relationship or a reputation, an excellent relationship for working with your fellow officers with the OPP, and I expect you will have the same type of relationship with the officers of the Timmins Police Service. You've got a challenging job. You know that. You applied for the job. You applied for the job, and you got it. So congratulations. And make no mistake about this. It is a challenging job. When I look at the ex-police chiefs that are sitting here, I have nothing. I have to tip my hat to you folks as well. You served us proudly for many, many years. And Dennis I knew personally, and there wasn't, I'm sorry I didn't know the others as well, but Dennis I knew personally from the time I was in high school. I don't know what the hell he's doing retired, but anyway, he is. So congratulations, Dennis. And he's a fine man. So Chief Foy, you've got Chief Gauthier sitting beside you. You've got the police officers behind you. And sir, you have big shoes to fill. I'm quite sure you will do so. Leadership in law enforcement is crucial to the continued safety and well-being of our city. Our police chief is not only a leader to the members of the police operation, but also helps lead the community with knowledge, experience, and willingness to connect with residents. I'm confident that Chief Foy is ready to meet the responsibilities and demands of the position in order to respond to our current challenges. And at this particular time, I'd like to acknowledge the family of Chief Foy, because again, your family has worked with you 27 years. They know the risks. They've accepted them. They love you. They trust you. And they trust the rest of your officers that everybody will come home at the end of the day safe. Safe. And sir, I know you will do a great job for that. And sir, I know you'll only expand the reputation of the Timmins Police Service as chief of the Timmins Police Service. So congratulations. Congratulations to your families, one in the retirement, to the other in being part of an exciting part of the Timmins Police Service here within the City of Timmins. So congratulations to all.
Thank you, Mayor Perry. I'd like to, before we go any further, it just occurred to me, Brent Cicchini is here. And this event is being hosted in a library. So I'm no detective, but that means that Brent Cicchini is in a library. Doesn't even sound right. Hey, I ran into Brent the other day. Whereabouts? The library. No, in terms of rare sightings, this is like seeing a unicorn, basically. It's on par. You'd run it. If Roy Onlock had showed, he would have been the brunt of that joke, so just so you know. Good to see you out, Brent. At this point, I would like to call upon Rob Knox, as president of the Police Services Board, to provide a few comments and present some plaque retirements and badges to the outgoing chief, John Gauthier. Firstly, though, by way of background, it's obvious that Rob Knox is the chairman of the Timmins Police Services Board. In addition to his duties as the current chair, Rob is also the president of the Timmins Chamber of Commerce. He and his wife, Linda, are entrepreneurs involved in a quick service restaurant business. All hoping that things go well, Rob. It's a fledgling little business. Hopefully things go well for you. And he operates numerous restaurants across Ontario and Quebec. They have 4 children, all of whom are involved in the family business to various degrees. Previously, Mr. Knox served 20 years as a member of the Ontario Provincial Police. He retired as detachment commander at the South Porcupine Detachment in 2008. He hails from Schumacher and is a graduate of the University of Waterloo. He is an avid musician and has been a member of the Timmins Police Pipes and Drums Band for several years. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the podium Mr. Rob Knox.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Mayor Perry, Justice Thomas, Chief Gauthier, Chief Foy, your families, and all of our many distinguished guests, thank you for being here. It's my distinct honor to address you today as the chair of the Timmins Police Board. Police, at all times, should maintain a relationship with the public that gives reality to the historic tradition that the police are the public and the public are the police. The police being the only members of the public who are paid to give full-time attention to duties which are incumbent on every citizen in the interests of community welfare and existence. I'm referring, of course, to Sir Robert Peel's sage words, reflecting on the principles of law enforcement, true today as it was in 1829. The City of Timmins has been fortunate to have distinguished, thoughtful, and capable leaders within the ranks of our police service since its inception in 1912. Among the many others, we have Chiefs Harwood, Lavoie, and Laperriere. I thank you for your leadership and your service. And it is no different today on this auspicious occasion. Today, we not only recognize and salute Chief John Gauthier's devoted 30 years of service to the citizens of Timmins, we also welcome Chief Dan Foy into his role as our newest Chief of Police. Congratulations indeed. But on behalf of my colleagues on the board who are present with me today, it's my pleasure to present Chief Gauthier with his retirement badge and a plaque and some gifts from the service. If Deputy Chief DaCosta would assist me, Chief Gauthier. In honor of Chief John Gauthier, in recognition of his years of devoted and steadfast service in law enforcement, your community has benefited greatly from your leadership and dedication from June 1992 to February 2022. Congratulations, John.
Thanks very much.
And I'm very pleased to provide you with your retirement badge. Let's see the folks have a look. Beautiful gold retirement badge. Congratulations. Well earned. Thanks. 'Cause, 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 'c
Thank you.
Chief Gauthier, on behalf of the Timmins Police Service, Deputy Chief Foy, a gift from the service to you, sir. Thank you, Selena. It's beautiful. Barely recognize the guy on the left.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Knox. That is a young picture, John. My God. 162 pounds of pure law enforcement, ready to roll. Okay. Look at that go. In the modern policing environment, it is crucial that the Timmins Police Service enjoys a positive working relationship with its with its organized labor counterparts who make up the Timmins Police Association. This association is formed up of officers who assume various roles, with all of them focused on serving the best interests of their membership. While discourse between these two entities can be contentious on occasion, negotiations are always based on a foundation of mutual respect and public accountability. With this in mind, I would like to call upon the current president of the Timmins Police Association, Constable Luc Lamarche. He has been with the Timmins Police Service since 2003 and has spent 11 years with the Timmins Police Association, holding a variety of posts, including serving as Uniform Director, Vice President, and President. Luc is currently completing his third term as Association President. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Constable Luc Lamarche.
Thank you very much, Mark. Prior to beginning speaking, I was surprised today to see one of our
property. In any democratic setting, these rights should not come into conflict with each other, and yet our most recent national events show that this is becoming the norm as opposed to the exception. The police must address these situations while remaining impartial and showing no preference to any one point of view, and allowing the courts to determine which group has priority or the color of right. The police must always deploy patience and good judgment with the discharge of their duties. The margin between these two legally protected principles have always been fairly thin. When an officer responds to any call for service, the recipient of that response will typically find that the police either overreacted and should have been more lenient, or the police failed to acknowledge the seriousness of the call and failed to meet expectations. Here again, the margins are remarkably thin for your modern police officer, and social media readily allows for criticisms to be amplified to such a point that no amount of sincere or rational explanation can even be heard. Les événements récents dans notre province, à Ottawa et à Windsor et ailleurs, ont certainement amené la police à devenir un objet d'examen public assez sévère. Comme on a tous vu, les équipes de police sont placées dans une situation plutôt difficile. La police est obligée de reconnaître les droits protégés par la Charte de tous les citoyens d'organiser en groupe pour faire une démonstration, et également de répondre aux attentes du public en termes de préserver leur jouissance légale de leur propriété. Dans tous les cadres démocratiques, ces droits ne devraient pas entrer en conflit les uns avec les autres, et pourtant, nos événements nationaux les plus récents montrent que ceci devienne la norme plutôt que l'exception. La police doit faire face à ces situations toujours en restant impartiale et ne montant aucune préférence à un point de vue, et de laisser le palais de justice la tâche difficile de déterminer quel groupe possède la propriété et le droit légitime. Les policiers doivent toujours démontrer leur patience et du bon jugement dans l'exercice de leurs fonctions. En plus, les médias sociaux permettent facilement les critiques à tel point qu'aucune explication sincère ou rationnelle ne peut être entendue. During his tenure as Chief of Police, John Gauthier was well acquainted with these margins and just how thin they were, and applied his knowledge and experience to work effectively and cohesively within these margins. Striving to meet the expectations of the public while dutifully maintaining a watchful eye on the safety and welfare of his officers is a daily balancing act that not only John Gauthier confronted, but all senior police administrators must wrestle with on a daily basis. As chief, whenever the reputation of the Timmins Police was called into question by means of some vitriolic posts and baseless rantings, Chief John Gauthier made efforts to obtain all relevant information before taking any action to restore the public trust. In addition, and the chief has never wanted this to be made public, but John Gauthier on a number of occasions, you'll forgive me for this, Chief, has gone out with his officers on patrol. On more than one occasion, he became aware that a given platoon might be having a call-to-call type of busy shift. John Gauthier would come to the police station, get kitted up, grab a set of keys and a radio, and hit the road answering calls. This was inspired leadership. He did so right alongside fellow officers as a boots-on-the-ground equal. I saw this as pure public relations gold. He made me promise that these shifts he was working never made it to social media or standard media. So I kept my promise for a little while. In his view, he was collaborating with his officers to get the best appraisal of what his officers were coping with in the workplace and on a daily basis. With that in mind, I would like to now call upon Chief John Gauthier.
Biggest change since 2011, pair of glasses. First, thank you to all the speakers for the extremely kind words. Much appreciated. Thanks very much. So, good afternoon, everyone. Chief Foy, I would like to extend my congratulations to you on becoming the new Chief of the Timmins Police Service. Today, you join a group of sworn and civilian members who serve the citizens of the City of Timmins with pride and integrity. The Timmins Police Service celebrates its 110th anniversary this year. You now have the opportunity to lead the organization, working with a talented and dedicated staff. Although we had a brief time together, Dan, I'm very impressed with your knowledge of important policing issues. The time you spent as a police leader with the OPP will serve you well. There will be many good days to come and also many challenges. The world of policing is ever-changing and becoming increasingly difficult. We need only to think of the events in Ottawa over the last month, which clearly exemplifies the complexity of policing and the difficulties of police leadership. You are a true gentleman, Dan, and I wish you continued success in your new role. Shauna, Emerson, and Avery, you must be extremely happy and proud today. Keep supporting Dad, and Dad, of course, as I'm sure you have been for many years. So now comes the time for me to try to thank so many people. That would be a monumental task, and I could be here for hours. And let me first apologize in advance and hope that nobody will be insulted if they're not named individually. I need to first thank all of the members, sworn and civilian, current and retired, that I have worked alongside since 1992. Again, there's far too many to name. Thanks to Chief Harwood, Chief Lavoie, and Chief LaPerriere for being here, but also for your strong leadership during your tenures as Chief of the TPS. Thank you to the current and past members of the Timmins Police Services Board, City of Timmins Council, and the department heads for your support and encouragement. To the many community partners that I've worked with over the last 11 years, thanks very much for your thoughts and insight towards public safety. Thank you to the police leaders across this province, in particular Zone 1A, for the help and camaraderie. I will miss networking opportunities during the zone meetings. To my command team, Deputy Chief Henry DaCosta, Inspectors Rick Blanchette and Darren Donnell, Suzanne Colantonio, Selena Gauthier, Mark DePazzi, thank you for the many years of dedicated service. We solved a lot of problems together. We were serious when we needed to be and had many opportunities filled with laughter and fun at other times. Keep up the great work. And of course, I want to thank my family and friends for their support during my time, not only as chief, but as a police officer. In particular, to my wife Selena, son Brent, daughter Brooke. I could not have been in this spot today if it wasn't for your love, your support, encouragement, and understanding. I love you guys, and thank you. In 1992, I was given an opportunity to join the Timmins Police Service. It was a dream I had since childhood. Then, I blinked, and 30 years has gone by. I leave today with no regrets whatsoever. I take with me many good memories. I was promoted to chief in 2011 and given a chance to steer the ship for the last 11 years. During that time, the things I'm most proud of have nothing to do with me. Let me tell you of two quick examples. Many of you will recall the Timmins 9 fire. At one point, the smoke was so thick that when I looked north out of one of my office windows, it was dark outside, even though it was the middle of the afternoon. It was also the middle of summer, a time when many of my staff were on annual leave. Then, one call after another, my staff contacted us, informing me they were ready to give up their vacation days to come in and help out. Most recently, during the last 2 years of this pandemic, the men and women of this service continue to show up to work and give it their all. We're human. It's been a hard go. But even through a global pandemic, their commitment to public safety for our city is unwavering. In closing out my policing career, I'm sure of two things. I would do it all over again without hesitation, in a heartbeat. The policing profession was the perfect choice for me. And secondly, I will remain a very, very, very proud retired member of the Timmins Police Service. I hope that one day when many of you are saying your goodbyes after a long career, you feel the same peace I feel at this moment. I'll miss seeing the people and miss the daily challenges. Thank you for the 30 years of fun and life-changing moments. Thanks very much.
Well done, Chief. Brooke and Brent, you can be intensely proud of your dad. You're absolutely entitled. This is a special day. It's marking the termination of a career in public service that is paralleled with very few others. So, and just know that when I'm speaking with your dad about you, his voice softens a little bit, and he's intensely proud of you. Brooke in particular, Brent not so much, but still. He's proud of both his kids. I don't know, I just can't help myself sometimes. I don't know what it is. Okay. At this point, I would call upon Sylvie Vermette. She is representing the Honourable Member of Provincial Parliament, Gilles Bisson, who could not be here today, and she is going to present on Gilles' behalf some gifts from the province to both outgoing Chief and Chief Dan Foy as well. So if I could have both gentlemen come forward. And Sylvie, merci.
As a member of Provincial Parliament for Timmins and on behalf of the Legislative Assembly of Ontario, I'm honored to convey my congratulations to Chief John Gauthier on the occasion of your retirement. We wish you a happy retirement with sincere appreciation for your many years of service, your dedication, and the many difference you have made in the lives of so many. Welcome to the next chapter of your life.
That's very kind. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hi, as a member of Provincial Parliament for Timmins and on behalf of the Legislative Assembly of Ontario, I'm honored to convey my congratulations to Chief Daniel Foy on your new position of Chief of Police. You are a talented leader and a great fit for this new role. This truly is another step in an exciting career, and I wish you the best for your continued success. Well done on your new role from Julie.
Merci, Sylvie. Gentlemen, I'm going to collect the hardware there so there's no clutter. And now it is time for the practical aspect of today's ceremony. I will be calling upon Justice David Thomas to administer the oath of office and the oath of secrecy to Chief Designate Foy. After the oaths have been administered, Chief Designate Foy officially becomes Chief of Police for the City of Timmins. By way of introduction, I would like to make each of you better acquainted with Justice Thomas. David Thomas hails from Toronto originally. That doesn't make him a bad person. Early on in his career as a Crown Attorney, he was asked by the Deputy Attorney General of the Province of Ontario to travel to Timmins over 30 years ago to prosecute a challenging first-degree murder case. He accepted the assignment readily, and as a happy coincidence, he met his wife, Shelley of Schumacher, and the rest, as they say, is history. Obviously, he opted to stay on, making Timmins his adopted hometown, and proudly served as the senior prosecutor for this district, for 25 years before his appointment to the bench in 2016. Shelley and David have raised 3 daughters who are now pursuing their own professional careers in medicine and law, respectively. David was honored to receive the Timmins Civic Pride Award for volunteer service, the Timmins Man of the Year Award, the Governor General's Sovereign Medal for his volunteer work with various community agencies, including the Timmins Native Friendship Center and the Timmins and District Hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to ask Justice Thomas to please come forward, along with Chief Designate Foy, to complete the ceremonial tasks that will make this transition complete. Gentlemen, Your Honor.
I'm dating myself here, but I couldn't help but thinking this is the latest installment, the evolutionary line of chiefs of police since I've been here. There's been 6 of them. I had Chief Dennis Harris, Chief Harwood, of course, Chief Lavoie, Chief LaPerriere, Chief Gauthier, and now Chief Foy, the latest installment, the evolutionary line. So we've gone from, just in my time, we've gone from the introduction of horseless carriages with Chief Harris and billy clubs to dash cams, to DNA. Now we have drone surveillance and face recognition software. But I'm confident that Chief Foy will rise to the occasion. The criminals are getting smarter, and so are the police. And I know that Dan will rise to the occasion. So I'm not sure how you want to do this. We have the copies there.
Yeah, I'd like to have you seated
okay.
as much as possible. And Dan, you're going to state the oath out loud.
Right. You hand in the Bible, and you can read that.
We'll just let the, pardon me, Your Honor, I'm not objecting, I'm just saying that we have to, we just have to let the media gather themselves, and I'm seeing no problem. No, hold on. And now we're good to go. Okay, fair enough.
I, Daniel Foy, solemnly swear that I will be loyal to Canada, that I will uphold the Constitution of Canada, and that I will, to the best of my ability, preserve the peace, prevent offenses, and discharge my duties as Chief of Police of the Timmins Police Service faithfully, impartially, and according to law. And further, I, Daniel Foy, solemnly swear that I will not disclose any information obtained by me in the course of my duties as Chief of Police, except as I may be authorized or required by law. So help me God.
Congratulations.
I'm going to try and now beguile you into thinking that I'm a rather worldly person, and I'll fail miserably at that. I shouldn't even pretend. I did listen to the CBC just recently over the weekend with the cross-country checkup, and a person called in indicating that we're living in interesting times. It's part of an ancient Chinese greeting or curse. And it goes on to say, may you live in interesting times. At first blush, this would be seen to be a friendly greeting, but apparently upon closer inspection, the greeting is actually meant to be a curse or a threat. When aggrieved parties could not come to an agreement, the one party would say to the other, I am injured, and so I wish that you live in interesting times. It's the use of the word interesting that is a little misleading, because in regards to this curse, the person making the utterance is hoping that the enemy lives in chaotic times, riddled with upheaval and confusion. I do not know who made this wish against us at present, but we are certainly living in interesting times marked with social unrest, misplaced activism, and contempt for authority. How we got to this state of being is a little bewildering and mysterious, and a challenge for law enforcement in general. Like a good measure of the persons here present today, I've spent the bulk of my adult life in policing, and at no other time that I can think of has policing as an applied trade been more challenging for officers, regardless of rank or speciality. The ever-expanding areas of responsibility that fall on the shoulders of every police officer are made more perplexing when confronted with fixed timeframes, tall public expectations, and statutory requirements. This situation is compounded by the proliferation of unfair and baseless appraisals of the police and their function in our communities by a host of what appears to be ill-informed critics who possess no first-hand knowledge of policing or legitimate data to support their point of view. Still, undeserved traction is given to these posts, and the damage to our collective reputation as police officers takes hold. With this in mind, it occurs to me that at no other time has the need for inspired and collaborative leadership been more needed at the highest levels of police administration. The challenges confronted by senior police administrators are severe, unrelenting, and at times demoralizing. These challenges are a test to your character, experience, and composure to the officers at the helm. Only those persons who possess these attributes can competently and dispassionately complete their duties on a daily basis, despite this sometimes highly critical environment. The Timmins Police Service stands to benefit from the knowledge, experience, and aptitudes that Chief Designate Dan Foy possesses. At this point, I would like to call upon Chief Dan after a brief background. Chief Dan Foy has worked in the policing field for over 27 years. His career began in Chaplain in 1995, where he spent over 6 years working frontline duties. After transferring to North Bay Detachment in 2001, he worked in uniform for 3 years. then spent the next 6 years assigned to the Criminal Investigations Unit and to specialized units working on unsolved homicides. In 2010, he was promoted to the rank of Detective Sergeant and transferred to the South Porcupine OPP, where he oversaw a major case investigation at that detachment. He was promoted to the rank of Staff Sergeant and then became commander of the South Porcupine OPP detachment in 2014. In 2020, he was assigned to lead the James Bay detachment and was promoted to the rank of inspector in May of 2011. He was also designated as a critical incident commander in the OPP in 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to call upon Chief of Police Dan Foy.
I need these too. Good afternoon. Bonjour. Anin. Mark, there's a few things that we can expect when we attend a police function in Northern Ontario. When you're attending, you are always the master of ceremonies. That's because you work hard, you have the unparalleled ability to get people together and to get the job done. Thank you for being an exceptional master of ceremonies. I also want to start by thanking the members of the event committee. I know that you've worked hard and that I want to say that your contributions are noted and appreciated. Honored guests, Police Service Board members, members of the Timmins Municipal Council, fellow members of the Timmins Police Service, family and friends, colleagues from our partner policing, fire, and EMS agencies. Your presence here today, whether online or in person, is appreciated. Justice Thomas, Mayor Peary, Chaplain Smith, somewhere, Constable LaMarche, on behalf of the association, members of the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police, thank you for your support and presence. Chief Gauthier, today, as we heard, is a very important day for you and your family. That's because we celebrate your commitment to the protection of the residents of our great community. 30 years ago, you made the crucial decision to change careers from mining to policing. In doing so, you rose through the ranks and established yourself as a strong leader who focused on your efforts on community safety while advancing the priorities of the Timmins Police Service. Thank you for that. Selena, Brooke, and Brent, you should be very proud of your husband and father's accomplishments. His contributions to the city of Timmins have been important and played a very critical role in the growth of the Timmins Police Service. Chief, your photograph will be proudly displayed forever on the wall of police chiefs at the Timmins Police Service building. I want to thank you for your support during the transition process. I value the information you shared with me, and you could certainly count on me calling you when I need to clarify certain items, and you promised that. So thank you for that. Former Chiefs of Police, thank you for your presence today. I'm honored to be joining your group, and I will do my best to keep your traditions of excellence alive within the Timmins Police Service over the course of my tenure as police chief. It's important to note that collectively, between all the chiefs that we have here, we have at least 30 years of leadership that's represented here, and I think that's amazing. Thank you for that. Members of the Timmins Police Service, I am excited to be joining your team. We have a lot to be proud of. It's obvious to me that you strive for excellence in the delivery of our services. Thank you for that commitment. During the last 2 weeks, I was quickly reminded about how passionate police officers and civilian staff are towards the safety of their communities. and that's very much alive here in Timmins and with the Timmins Police Service. The Timmins Police Service has a very unique place within the emergency services field in Northern Ontario. Our communicators provide 911 services to many other communities while dispatching paramedics and fire departments within the city and more broadly across the region. Over the course of the next few years, my goal is to work with you, our staff, in order to continue building a service focused on not only meeting community needs, but one that is focused on including community needs in the fabric of what we do and into our values. We will work together to improve processes, to remove barriers, to work towards enhancing our technological capacity with the goal of building a modern service delivery platform. We will assess the implementation of analytical and deployment models in order to create efficiencies and ultimately reduce pressures on our workforce and on our frontline service delivery. Canada, Ontario, and certainly the city of Timmins have seen the benefits of changing demographics. Yesterday, Mayor Perry explained to the Chamber of Commerce how important inclusion and diversity are to a community. I could not agree more. Maintaining and strengthening values in terms of equity, diversity, and inclusion will ensure that our workforce and service delivery are reflective of the community that we serve. Our efforts towards diversity will act as a unifying factor for our personnel and for the community. I look forward to working with the Timmins Police Service Indigenous Advisory Committee in order to continue building the work that you've done, Chief. That's building trusting relationships with First Nations partners and First Nations residents that call Timmins home and First Nations people that visit Timmins. Je suis très fier d'être francophone. Timmins est un centre important pour les Franco-Ontariens du Nord-Est. Notre ville, par l'entremise du comité de liaison francophone, vise à assurer un service adéquat pour les francophones de la région. Aux francophones de Timmins, votre service de police va continuer à vous supporter au point de vue culturel et linguistique. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about partnerships. And that's one thing that you started and I will certainly continue. Partnerships are no longer a nice thing to do. They are a must. Working in silos is a thing of the past. Integrating our service delivery with other policing and social agencies has become necessary. Sharing resources is proving to be beneficial in terms of making informed decisions on how to best support clients, on how to reduce risk, or to advance investigations. The synergy that's caused by partnerships, by effective partnerships, creates an atmosphere where agencies and involved persons want to support each other and also want to strive for success, all for the benefit of the community. The Timmins Police Service will continue to take part in partnerships that will increase our ability to create a safer Timmins. We will focus on advancing the many partnerships that we currently have, and I'm just naming a few. Victim Services, a very much long-standing partnership. The Timmins and District Hospital, which includes the Mobile Crisis Rapid Response Team. The Canadian Mental Health Agency. The Porcupine Health Unit, which includes the Opioid Task Force and other harm reduction committees. We will also continue to work with the many member agencies that form part of the Situation Table. The Cochrane District Social Services Administration Board and our EMS partners. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about our community outreach team, which forms a very big part of what we do in our community. Also, partnerships with the OPP, NAPS, our municipal policing partners from all over the north, and our fire department. Also, Timmins Care is also a very prominent association in Timmins that we will continue to support. When we look at the recent successes in our city in terms of social programs, we have a lot to be proud of. Recently, two doctors, Dr. Sampson and Dr. Marion Belmar, received an award of excellence. This is an example of their commitment to make Timmins a better and safer community. We will strive to follow their lead and create effective and innovative partnerships that will benefit everyone. I want to recognize several people that are important to me. I have many prior colleagues and supervisors that are here today that have traveled long distances from Chapleau, North Bay, some from South Porcupine and James Bay detachments. Thank you for your presence. Many of my supervisors, I'm glad that you're here because if I counted properly, you represented about 20 of my 27 years. And I see Jeff supervised me for 10 years, Steve for 6, John and Mike probably for 4 or 5 together. Your positive influence and leadership examples have stayed with me. Thank you for guiding me throughout the years. Friends and family, there are many of you, thank you. Mom and Dad, I know it was difficult to make arrangements to get you here today. I will see you soon. I'm proud to call you my parents because you always showed us the right way to advance in life. Thank you. I also want to recognize Acting Chief Jason Spooner and Deputy Chief Vince Foy, my brother. We grew up together and we all wanted to be police officers. We all achieved our dreams, and 30 years later, we are all police leaders at various parts of Ontario. Vince in Eastern Ontario, me in Central Ontario, and Jason near the Manitoba border. We've done it, guys. We've got Ontario covered. Shauna, Emerson, and Avery, you have allowed me to pursue my dream job, being a police officer. For most of my career, I've been subjected to travel and long hours. Your resiliency in accepting my career and supporting me is appreciated. Thank you for that. I'm happy to be coming back home. In conclusion, to our partners and members of the Timmins Police Service, collectively, our efforts to make the city of Timmins safer will be successful if we maintain a long-term and consistent approach. I look forward to working with all of you. All that I ask is that you join me and the members of the administration team in continuing to make Timmins a safer place. Thank you. Merci.
Well done, Chief. But what's a chief without a badge? Rob, could I call upon you for a moment? And could I have Chief Scott Todd from the North Bay Police Service come forward as well? So I'll have Chief Foy. And Outgoing Chief John Gauthier. The OACP, the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police, has an award for you as well. I'll allow the dignitaries to perform their tasks.
Wache, ane, bonjour, greetings everyone. Thank you for inviting me to the City of Timmins today for this historic and momentous moment in the change of leadership of your police service. Your Worship, Mr. Justice Thomas, Chief Gauthier, Chief Foy, fellow invited guests, and even the uninvited guests. It's a great day for the City of Timmins today, and the fact that you're welcoming a terrific new leader and at the same time saying goodbye to another terrific leader. We've heard a lot of great talk about how John has led this service for 11 years. Your Worship, all the words you said were really ringing loudly across police leadership in Ontario today. I would only hope when I retire that the Mayor of North Bay says something similar. Maybe I wish he says something similar. Maybe I should just pray he'll say something similar. Father, pray with me, please. So John's been a chief for 11 years, and he's represented the OACP in the city of Timmins. The OACP is an organization of 350 members, of which some of our life members are here with us today and the retired chiefs of police. We advocate on behalf of police leadership across Ontario. We advocate for police leadership and police services and the well-being of our police officers and our services. I'm pleased to be here today and represent Chief Gary Kahn, President of the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police, and the other chiefs of Zone 1A, to present Chief John Gauthier his life member's badge with the OACP. It's said being a police leader is always living in a storm. And I think we've heard the last 2.5 years has been nothing but a storm. And although all police leaders live in that storm, it's the boat we ride that storm in which makes us successful. John Gauthier has built a successful boat in Timmins. I've always heard him advocate for his sworn members, his civilian members, and his unsworn members. He's always advocated for the city of Timmins. He's advocated for the North. He's advocated for policing. In my opinion, John's built a strong boat, and he's weathered that storm successfully. It certainly is something that I look to as with great admiration in the way John's conducted himself as Chief of Police in Timmins. And I welcome Dan Foy on behalf of the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police, knowing full well that Dan too will do a terrific job for the city of Timmins as your next Chief of Police. So it's my pleasure, John, to present you with this badge on behalf of the members of the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police.
Thanks so much, Scott.
As chair of the police board, it's my distinct honor to present Chief Foy with his new badge as the newest member of Timmins Police Service. I will say that I met Dan. He was a young cadet working in Chaplain detachment, fetching and doing chores for everyone, and here we are many years later, 28 years later. Congratulations, Dan, and welcome to the service.
So this effectively draws to a close today's presentation. I'm very proud to be a member of the Timmins Police Service, predicated on service with the Ontario Provincial Police, and as much as for the first little while with the Timmins Police, Dan, you've got to get used to the idea that they refer to the OPP as the dark side. It's just one of those things. It's good-natured ribbing. But I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the following groups. The City of Timmins. Mr. Mayor, we've had tremendous support from all aspects of the city, so we're very thankful for that. The Timmins Public Library staff have been remarkable, nothing less than accommodating. We've dropped by, we've scheduled meetings, and then we've dropped by again uninvited, so absolutely they've been very good to us. The fine folks at Near North Productions, thank you so much for making this event a live streaming event that allows persons who could not travel throughout Northern Ontario to be here today, the opportunity of taking in the ceremony. I also like to thank the Timmins Police Pipes and Drum Piper, Tom Luke. Despite his injury, he showed up like a trooper. That's great. And the Timmins Police Auxiliary and Special Constables. Where would we be without our volunteers? I don't want to know, and you don't want to find out. And in particular, Timmins Police Staff Sergeant Tim Chalmers and Guy Bouffard for their unwavering support throughout everything that was coming to make this event occur. Now, I know that we're all eager to socialize and talk to our outgoing chief and our new incoming chief, but this will shock you. I want to accommodate the media first. There's a shock. Nobody saw that coming. So we're going to allow for interviews to take place. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for attending. Thank you for your kind attendance and attention. These are important milestones within the city of Timmins as far as the history of law and order in our area. So this event, I'm hopeful, is a ringing endorsement for how the police will continue to serve the Timmins police, the citizens of the Timmins, the city of Timmins with distinction. Thank you. so the media can make their way into that room. Thanks, Ben.